Okay, welcome everyone to Wednesday's Whispers with Peg Jones. I'm Peg Jones, and tonight I have two guests, Elaine Tavis and Dr. Amber Wolf. Elaine Tavis is the Boston host for the Kryon events, and Dr. Amber Wolf is is part of the group that travels with Lee Carroll, who is the channeler, and so tonight. And the event is in Boston. It's next weekend, the 11th and 12th of March. It's in Peabody, Massachusetts, which is north of Boston. Tonight we're going to learn who Kryon is and what the weekend is all about. Elaine is also co-hosting with her daughter, Nicole, too. This is actually their third weekend of organizing this event. So I thought I would bring in Elaine, but just a little story. I had heard about Kryon back in the summer time, I guess, of last year, and I was also listening to his channels to the Lemurian Sisterhood, which I'm learning more about each day. And I had the opportunity of going to a Lemurian Sisterhood event that was hosted by Nicole and Elaine too. So I went and I found it to be quite amazing. And Dr. Amber Wolf is the woman who is the person that had begun channeling with the Lemurian woman. So I thought I would welcome Elaine. Hello, Elaine. Welcome.
Hi, Peg. Thank you.
I'm glad you were able to make it tonight, despite the difficulties of technical advancement. So I would
get to call in the angels. Is that what happened?
Yeah, it could have been. Okay, yeah. Let's just call in those angels.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, angels. We need all the help we can get, and we thank you.
There we go.
I can see them all kind of just swarming. Well, yeah, we're here. Thank you for acknowledging us. We're part of this too, So, yeah, and it's funny because earlier I thought we should just have some type of little prayer intention. So I guess they were reminding me of that again. So I guess I'll put the intention out that this will be an enlightening hour of information and just learning about the Kryon event and the channeling and also the Lemurian Sisterhood groups too. So, is there something you wanted to add, Elaine, also?
Well, would you like me to talk about the weekend?
Yes. Oh, that I definitely do. What I meant as a prayer. Yeah, I definitely want you to do that.
Oh, as a prayer.
Yeah, or just intention.
I've just called them all, my angels, my guides, my higher self in, and asked them to take care of any technical difficulties and just let this hour go perfectly and let it reach everyone that needs to hear from us.
Yes. Thank you. So, can you tell me about Kryon and Lee Carroll?
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Let me start by telling you a little bit about Lee, and anything that I miss, Amber can certainly fill in.
Okay.
She is with Lee almost every other weekend, traveling, or every weekend, so she knows a lot more than I do. But let me give you what I know.
Okay.
Lee is the author of 18 books. He has, I want to say, 7 times been invited to the UN to present information. He's international. He travels the world. He channels Kryon.
Okay.
For those that don't know Kryon, it's an angelic energy. It's not one being. It's just a collective energy. And Kryon gives wonderful messages. He doesn't mess around. Yes. He's right on. And for anyone that's listened to all the wonderful channelings that Lee posts that are absolutely free on his website, you know what I'm talking about. And the information is always up to date, and it's exactly what we need to hear.
Yes, definitely. And I have been listening, like I said earlier, and I just, it's like, it's just such validation, I think, for myself. He's very he's just very validating in what is happening on our earth, in an energetic level, and and just physical level too, just almost comforting to know that whatever is happening, that there's a reason for it, and that we will be fine. That we're going through a lot of transformation, so I think that that's pretty cool. And yes. Also, besides Lee Carroll, there's also some other guests too that I know Amber can talk about too, but I just thought, just to kind of talk about them a little bit more, just to kind of say who they are.
Well, Dr. Todd will be with us.
Okay.
And Dr. Todd is a medical doctor who has done a lot of research, but he has also been traveling with Lee and Kryon for many years. He was at the first event I went to. And through channelings, they have found out that Dr. Todd's mother, way back when he was first brought into his physical being, I guess, his mother was a Palladian.
Oh, okay.
And the Palladians, the 7 sisters, came down and they seeded with...
What are the 7 sisters? Are they Palladians or...
Palladians, I believe. If I'm incorrect, Amber can correct me.
You're good.
Okay. And Dr. Todd, his name was Yahweh.
Oh.
And he was from the Temple of Rejuvenation. And isn't that interesting? Because now in this lifetime, he's a medical doctor.
Yes, very.
And very. He does the pineal tones, which I can't even describe them. They're so beautiful. The first one that I took part in, none of us knew what we were doing. Yeah. And we sounded like a room full of angels.
Wow.
That's just cool. Incredible.
Very good. Very good.
And then our beautiful goddess, Dr. Amber, will be with us. Mm-hmm. She'll be doing a meditation on Saturday before Lee channels. And then Saturday night at 7:30, she will be having her Lemurian Sisterhood circle.
Yes, and I'm looking forward to that.
And then on Sunday, Lee and Amber will be presenting together.
Oh, a
Yes.
workshop of some sort?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
With channeling or just more of a teaching type.
Amber, I haven't been to one. You'll have to explain that.
I can talk about that.
Okay.
Hi, everybody. Hi.
Hello and welcome. And can I just talk a little bit about you and then you can explain?
Please do.
Okay. This is not going what I thought. Okay, so, but that's okay.
No.
That's okay. I'm just going to go with the flow, right? That's all you got to do. So, Dr. Amber Wolf's main, her main thing is connecting on the global goddess grid. We're living in times of challenges and awakenings, and she believes an integral part of that is the healing of the wounded feminine energy on the planet and the rebalance of humanity through this. Amber Maleha, I'm not spelling that right, Maleha Wolf, PhD, has committed to restorative health care and education in 1982. She's an internationally known teacher, facilitator, author, recording artist, healing intuitive, and channel of the Lemurian Sisterhood. She has followed the thread of her Akash throughout her life and always guided by the mystery and harmony of the natural world, from her time in the Alaskan wilderness to her 30 years in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. She also, and as we know, she travels with Lee Carroll and Kryon, and she's the creator and the facilitator of the Lemurian Sisterhood seminars. And her sacred assignment is to help reawaken the sisters to the core Lemurian seeds with the DNA and recreate the sacred circles of the Lemurian Sisterhood. And she continues to receive and channel information guidance through her ongoing connection with the Lemurian energies. So, welcome, Amber, and I'm glad you were able to come here tonight too. And you were going to talk about something. And so, and I can't remember what it was, to be honest with you.
About Sunday.
Yes, about Sunday, right? And so, yeah, what can you tell us about what's going to be happening on Sunday?
I can tell you everything.
Okay, sounds good.
I've been traveling and doing these 2-day events with Lee Carroll since 2011. So we are in our 7th year. Can that
Wow.
be? Yeah.
Amazing.
So the events go like this. Saturday is called The Best of Kryon, and it's Lee teaching and talking about what's going on now in the world, the energy of the times. And there are 2 channels, one at about 11 something and one at the end of the day. And I lead little meditations before that. And on Saturday evening is the Lemurian Sisterhood Sacred Circle. And there'll be a live Kryon channel for that. So if you're a woman and you come there, you can have 3 Kryon channels in one day. Woohoo!
Wow, that's really great.
And then so it's a seminar day.
Yeah.
On Sunday, it's a workshop day. And Lee and I do teachings back and forth. We take turns on stage. And we teach the practical tools for surviving in the world today.
Yeah.
Tools for higher consciousness, tools for really being able to work with the energy that's available to us now. We know that there's a lot of craziness in the world, but there's also a lot of amazing things going on. And so we bring that to the party for Sunday, and then we end the day with a channel.
Wonderful. that sounds wonderful. I'm really going to try to make it.
That would be great.
Because it's down the street from me, more or less. So, yes, definitely. And so, one of your questions that you had suggested was, why Alaska, why nature? I think of Alaska as, very, plush with wilderness and greenery and everything. And you had spent some time there in the past?
I did. I spent a total of 12 years there. I lived on the Yukon River out very far from other people, 10 miles by river from the nearest settlement of 100 people. So it was very isolated and very, yes, definitely natural. I would never have said it was lush, though.
No? Okay.
It can be, it is wilderness, and there are trees and water and lots of animals, but it's also very harsh. Winters are long and very, very dark. Summers are short and very light and beautiful and intense and filled with wildlife. So really for me, I went out there with not wanting, from a upbringing of traditional religion, and really wanted to escape all of that. That was one of the reasons I went there. And what I found was, through the world of nature, was spirituality. And that's what nature continues to bring to me. I try to go out in nature every day, and I'm most drawn to places that are very isolated and quiet and, intense. So
mountaintop and
yeah, mountaintops and deep valleys and long trails and beautiful rivers and those kinds of things. And I really try to, that is the place where I'm most in touch with spirit, with, the healing energy that comes to me, and the guidance comes when I'm there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
That's wonderful. So that's what basically Alaska brought for you, was an awakening of sorts, spiritually, and seeing that there was more to life, and
more
purpose,
to spiritual life than organized religion.
Right. Yeah. That's really great. And how did your psychic and intuitive, so during that time you must have, become, or remember, I guess I should say, more about your intuitive and your psychic gifts, that most likely led you to learning about healing, the different modes.
Yeah, I feel that all of that stuff, my connection to spirit woke up. My psychic gifts woke up there. And there are not a lot of distractions. It's it's a simple life. And,
definitely.
And it's pretty much, chop wood, carry water, hunt, fish, the real basic stuff. And so there's not a lot of distractions that keep you from going deeper. And it was, and plus it wasn't someone else's idea, how we resist people's ideas or the church's ideas about how we should behave. It was my own exploration and my own path.
Yes. That's great. That's really good. I guess I think we all come to that, especially if we've been brought up, in religion, in a religious community of some sort, And I think, we kind of say, well, there must be something more, And I know for me that happened, and and I started searching for it too, but I wasn't in the piece of Alaska. I was doing it as I was teaching preschool and trying.
Well, that's the spiritual practice right there.
Oh yeah, definitely. And it's funny that you talk about the 7 sisters, because I have 7 brothers, and my maiden name was Wolf.
Wow! Wow! I love it.
Honest, 2 F's, not 1. And so I'm just curious, because I have seen murals or even pictures of these they must be angels or goddesses or something, like in a tree. I remember seeing that somewhere. And, the 7 has always meant something because of the 7 younger brothers that I have. But so I'm just curious about these 7 Pleiades sisters that you were talking about.
Well, that's a big subject, the 7 sisters, and there's a lot in what Lee and I know. He's does a lot of research with when he travels with the indigenous to find out what their creation stories are, and everywhere he's gone, the Aborigines in Australia, the Maori in New Zealand, the Easter Islanders, the tribes in Peru, they all point to the sky and they say we came from the 7 stars.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's not a coincidence.
Right?
Yeah.
No, it isn't. And I had a guest a couple of months ago who was Maorian. And, and we talked about the commonality of the Native Americans and, some of the other, and the Maori and, the other tribes that you had talked about too. So I guess that's something I'm going to have to find out. So that's basically what they're referring to as that is are the different tribes and their connection to the stars and all and that.
Yeah, and that somehow their ancestors came there, so they are, we are star seeds, we are star beings, and our DNA is part Pleiadian.
Yeah, definitely. I have heard that I'm part Sirius, but I don't. Sirius.
I try not to be too serious. I take myself lightly.
Oh, me too. It's like, okay, whatever you say. and you had it in 2011. You got involved with the Akashic Awakening, which kind of began the Lemurian Sisterhood.
Yeah, it did begin the Lemurian Sisterhood, and I had a big awakening, and it was something that I didn't ask for, didn't know what it was, didn't have a clue. But I was, by Spirit's plan, I was, connected with Lee, and he was able to help me figure out exactly what was going on.
Wow.
So great. That was helpful. Mm-hmm. And, I appreciate that divine timing and Spirit's plan and all of that stuff that really is always perfect. We just we're the last to know. And from there, he told me I needed to have a woman's meeting when we were in Argentina on 11/11/11. So that was my first woman's circle. It wasn't called the Lemurian Sisterhood yet. That came about later, early in the year in 2012. But the real launch of the Lemurian Sisterhood was on 12/21/2012 in Maui, when we had the Lemurian choir with Dr. Todd and we were in Lemuria, Hawaii, for the Great Shift. So we had a giant meeting of women outdoors under the Pleiades on the ocean, where we lived and where our DNA was from 26 to 50,000 years ago.
Wow, that's really cool. And so the Akashic basically kind of brought you to understand that you were that you were to basically begin the Lemurian Sisterhood.
Well, it started with that one, and then it started, there was another, and finally it became somewhere in the middle of 2012, probably at a Summer Light Conference somewhere. I think we were in Sedona then. I had a meeting outside in one of the vortexes in Sedona, and we built a big rock spiral for everyone to stand in, and it was pretty amazing. I really feel the energy has always been here, just waiting for my slow self to catch up. And, now that I've said yes to this, and there's been this worldwide movement now, more and more women are saying yes because they feel the energy and they feel their own Akash awakening. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Our dear Nicole as you know, has the Lemurian Sisterhood meetings now because she felt the call.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, it was really great. So what do you see your vision for its further unfolding for our future?
Well, I see that our mission is to help heal the wounds of the divine feminine and bring women back to their power, to their source of their divine feminine energy, which is from the cosmos, and bring it back to the world so that we can have balance. We're not in balance. We're way out of balance. We're in the patriarchy, and it's the hero archetype and, the conquering hero. And women are not like that. Women live in community. And so we live in circles, and that's why these are called sacred circles.
Okay. Yeah. No, yeah. And they are sacred. They're definitely sacred. And we're going to take a 5-minute break, and we will come back and talk more.
Okay, great.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and we're back with Wednesday's Whispers. I'm Peg Jones, and my guests tonight are Elaine Tavis and Dr. Amber Wolf. And Amber was talking about, I believe, the sisterhood and what she saw as her vision for it further unfolding.
Right. So when I started traveling around with Lee and doing these meetings in 2012, 2013, the women that were gathering in this Saturday evening, like we're having in Peabody, they wanted more. They wanted, the community as the Lemurian spiritual part. They wanted the community. And that's exactly what we did do in Lemuria, had community of women. And so I created this worldwide sacred circles that are all over the planet now. We have, if we go from east to west, we have someone, our dear Laura, who's in Glastonbury, England. That's a really good anchor point.
Yeah.
And then we have someone in Solothurn, Switzerland. And then we have Amsterdam, Netherlands. Mm-hmm. And then across the pond here, I would say that Nicole is the first one on the East Coast. And then we have Pennsylvania, Minnesota, Colorado. I'm missing someone in the middle. And Beth. And, of course, Melissa, who's in Southern California. Then we have we have a new host as of today in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
And women, I had 4 applications for hosts in the past 2 weeks, which is just amazing to me that women want to do this. So they become part of the program that I support, and they have a hosting manual, and they get copies of my logos, which are trademarked, so they get to use those in their advertising, and they get a lot of coaching and support from me as much as they need. We have our wonderful Melissa, who's our Facebook support, to help them get on social media. And I have to say, Nicole, you're the best. Shout out. I know you're listening. She really does. She goes for it on Facebook and Instagram, and it's great. For me, it's like learning another new language.
Yeah, it is.
And then we have a host in Lemuria in Hawaii, which is just marvelous. So, and then I've had people in Australia and New Zealand that have inquired. So what I see is this global goddess grid, each one of us connected to the next by the energy of the Lemurian Sisterhood and the light that we bring to the world, that we connect to all women all over the world as they learn to be their sacred selves and teach the world that women are sacred.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the world really needs that.
I'd say it's kind of a mess out there.
Yeah, kind of.
Kind of a mess.
I would say so. Yeah. I had been involved for a while with the Grandmothers Speak. I'm still kind of involved, but they're mostly about Gaia, but it's the the messages that they share with us, as far as protecting the not only the sacred lands, but just kind of the whole planet itself too. But I had found that to be pretty interesting, and I really hadn't heard of the Lemurian Sisterhood until probably the summertime, because I did listen to some of the channelings that Kryon did during some of those meetings, and it's quite amazing, how how this is all happening, because it's, it's almost like, well, we have been, it's like we've been hidden, in some way, about, or not spoken about the strength that, and the compassion, that women can bring to all aspects of life. But we're seeing more, we're seeing it in politics, and we're seeing it in, a lot of different other things too. So, they say that the Pisces age is gone and the Aquarius age is truly coming forth. And I think we're seeing more evidence of that all the time.
I hope so.
I'm not sure if the men particularly like it, or even...
Well, let me tell you, I have a good story about the men.
Oh, good. I would love to hear it.
This weekend, and this is a full circle, and I hadn't realized it, a couple things. One is that when I was in the winter of 2011, I was here in Tucson with my husband, and there was a Kryon event here. We had just hosted Lee in Boulder. I host Lee in Boulder every year. Mm-hmm. And in 2018, I'll be hosting him with Greg Braden, which is going to be really wonderful. And so we came here to get out of the Colorado cold. And the woman that was is the host and was just our host last weekend, Marilyn Phillips, sells beautiful stones and pendants and things. And I picked up a pendant from her that was the precursor to my Akashic Awakening. Oh. And once that pendant came into my hands, everything changed. Oh. So I'm coming around full circle to that as well from, early 2011. But last time we were here 2 years ago, a lovely gentleman named John Powers came up to me and said that he would like to donate $25 to a scholarship of a woman who could not afford to come to the Lemurian Sisterhood meeting. Oh, wow. And I was just so moved by that. It wasn't anything I ever thought of asking for, but I was happy, and I had him, I announced it, and right away someone, wanted to take advantage of that, and that was great. And so I keep saying that everywhere I go, and the men show up.
Wow. That's great.
And that's excellent. Great. And if it's the interesting thing is that there are times when, 2 or 3 men will show up and donate, but only one woman needs the scholarship, and then I'll go to the next place and no one will donate and 2 women will need it. So it really has its own life. Yeah. And so this time there were 2 beautiful, gentle men who donated for women to come to the meeting. So I so appreciate that. And so there, I have this fantasy that in Lemuria, when we were, living in the Garden of Eden and everything was in balance, when it came around to the time of the new moon and the full moon, or the equinoxes, solstice, eclipses, whatever we women were in charge of celebrating, or just our monthly meetings, that the husband would say, or the partner would say to the goddess, listen, you go ahead. I know you have your meeting tonight. I'll take care of the kids. I'll make dinner. I'll give them a bath. I'll put them to bed. You just go. Because they knew if the goddess was happy, everybody was happy. Exactly. And balanced. Yeah. So I don't think that's too far off from where we could be headed, hopefully where we are headed. And I know there are many men out there now who are seeing the need. And they ask me every every weekend that I do this, the men ask me about meetings for men. So I know there's a desire for it. And,
yes,
I'm hoping that happens. And so, this next weekend, or this weekend? Yeah. Next weekend in Boston. Yeah. I've lost track of the days, as I do, unless I have a plane ticket in my hand. And so we'll have that meeting in Massachusetts. The other thing that happens is that if there are enough men who are waiting for their women that are in the Lemurian Sisterhood meeting, they have one of their own meetings.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. And it just becomes a spontaneous thing. Men will come up to me and say, I just wanted to say that, I'm going to be waiting for my wife, and I'm wondering, or my girlfriend, partner, whatever, I'm wondering if there are any other people that would like to get together and, have our own meeting. And, sometimes it's 2 or 3, sometimes it's 10.
Uh-huh. Wow.
So it's all beautiful, and it's really shifting.
That's great. Well, I know last weekend, I was I was gone all day, and suddenly said I'm going to a Lemurian meeting to my husband, and he's like, "Okay, have fun, be good." He just was like, "Okay, we'll see you when you get back."
Yeah. That's it. Smart guy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He's kind of like that, but for the most part, so I can't complain. So I'm not sure he understands what it was all about or anything, but
he trusts that you do.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely. So, I think that there is hope.
Of course, there's hope
for us all. There's lots of hope for us all. Yeah. So, Elaine, I wanted you to talk more about how people can get tickets and register for next weekend, and what they need and what else they need to know.
Okay. So to register, you go to Kryon.com, and you'll go to events, and you will see Boston. You click on that, and there is a choice to register for either Saturday or Sunday or both days. Now, we also have lunch served, and that's included in the cost. If you don't sign up online and at the last minute you show up at the door, you will not be able to get the lunch.
Okay.
If you want to come to the luncheon part of it, you do have to sign up online.
Okay.
And again, Kryon.com.
Okay. And Saturday night, you don't have to have been there Saturday. You can for the Lemurian.
Correct.
You can
so you have to be on time, because Miss Dr. Amber closes those doors at 7:30.
Yes, you don't have to come to the Kryon meeting to come to the Lemurian Sisterhood. It is $25. It's not available to pay online. You pay, the people that are at the Saturday event pay during the day, so we have less paperwork and more meeting on Saturday night. And so the doors open for the meeting at 7:15 and close promptly at 7:30. And we start with a Kryon channel.
Excellent. That's great. Okay. And it runs for about an hour and a half,
usually till 9:15, something like that.
Okay. Very good. And it's really interesting hearing about the sisterhood, because I really didn't know a whole lot about it, and I think it's really wonderful that this is beginning, or it has been ongoing. And have you yourself written some books? Because I saw that you were an author.
That's a good question. Can we defer that question till the end of the year, and I might have an answer for you?
Oh, okay.
I have
So,
created
work in
I have
progress.
created 9 CDs.
Oh, yes.
And that's where my creative juices go into so far.
Okay.
But yeah,
And you're working on a book now?
I decline to say.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, I have a couple in the works too that I can understand that.
Yeah.
It just happens when it happens, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You get it. It
Yeah,
happens.
So trying to think what else we can ask. Where are you going?
Well, if anyone wants to find out more about me and what I do, my website is www.amberwolfphd.com. And if you / you can have events or products or free audio. And I think it's worth mentioning that since 2014, so 2014, 15, 16, 3 full years of Kryon channels at the Lemurian Sisterhood meetings. There's over 40 channels.
Yes.
And there are, for people that want to know more about the history of Lemuria, the Pleiadian involvement with Lemuria, the Pleiadian involvement with Meleha, my goddess priestess self that I was when my Akash was alive in Lemuria. That's there. If they want to know more about your Lemurian Akash, that's in those channels. What else? Pleiades, Lemuria, Akash, Meleha, and the Lemurian Sisterhood, and the different things that we did during that time. One of the things we did was sacred circles. And so that's really what the strong tradition that we're continuing. So I really suggest that if you're feeling a resonance, when you do, you can be curious, you can have a resonance, whatever it is. Go to my website, go to free audio. The most recent channel is at the top, the one from Tucson, which was really pretty interesting because Lee asked for questions. What did the women want to hear most about? So he Kryon channeled to the answer of those questions.
Oh, that's nice.
And that's a first. That's the first time it happened. So that was really cool. And one of the things that was asked before the channel started, and this might be of interest to a lot of people, was about Lemurian seed crystals. Don't we all love Lemurian seed crystals?
Yeah, I have one.
Yeah. Well, what Lee said was they are not from Lemuria.
I got that feeling.
They are a geological designation of a different kind of quartz that was found on the planet more recently. So I thought that was interesting because I always thought this was very cool that we had these, crystals fall from the sky and embed themselves in our planet, but apparently not. Apparently not.
And
so that's, and what else?
Is Mount Shasta? Are you connected with Mount Shasta at all?
Mount Shasta. There's a lot of different things about Lemuria and Mount Shasta. There's the whole following of the Telos group and Aurelia Louise Jones, she really started to talk about Lemuria in the 80s. She was one of the first. And Lee even had her as a guest at a very early Summer Light Conference when she was kind of in her dotage. But she did come on stage and channel. And there are, a lot of people who have a very strong affinity for the city in the mountain of Mount Shasta.
Telos.
Yeah, Telos. And I do not have that. I have a very strong affinity for the energy of the mountain. And when I'm there and I'm channeling, it takes me like a long time to come back into the physical, because something about the vortex there just lifts me away, which is beautiful and amazing. And last year I did a retreat, a Lemurian goddess awakening adventure there in August. And this year I'm going to be doing one in October. So in early October.
Right there at Mount
Right
Shasta.
there in Mount Shasta. Yeah, it's one of my places. I really like it. So, yeah.
I have felt a bit of a calling there. Like I'd like to go there someday.
Yeah.
And
when you're on this side of the Rocky Mountains, all that stuff is lots closer.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I have a brother in Oregon, so it could be, doable, I guess, at some point. But yeah, I have always wanted to be there, go there. I had read some accounts of Lemuria and kind of what went on, which is separate from Mount Shasta, but kind of what the city under the mountain was all about. But I think that they were talking about, before any of us were really here too, that it was just, but they described it in such a way. I mean, it was like, it felt like Space Mountain, like they were talking about space.
Right, that it was outer space in the mountain.
Yeah. And so that, but I really haven't really read a whole lot about that. I'd like to get more facts and.
Aurelia Louise Jones has 3 books, I believe, about it.
Oh, does she? That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have her the 7 with the angels and the I can't think of what it's called now. I don't have it with me, but there is one of her books where she talks about the angels and their retreats, and the archangels and their Chohans, so their partner, and she just talks about their relationship and about the retreats and how to connect with them too. It's pretty interesting. It's very interesting, but that's the only book that I've really read from her. And she has also passed, right? She's not here.
Yes, she has I'm sorry, I can't even venture to guess how many years ago.
Yeah. But okay, so it's more than just recent. It's a while back.
Yeah, more than 5 years.
Okay. So we have 5 minutes left, and I want to thank you both. And if you could just give your information again, Dr. Wolf, about your website and your email if you so desire. And Elaine, you can give any information that you'd like, but you basically have done that, so I guess you don't need to do it again. Unless you want to.
Well,
you go, Elaine, you go.
Again, Kryon to register or for any information. There's anything and everything you want to know about Kryon is on his website. It's primarily, everything is free, and it's www.kryon.com.
Okay.
And if anyone wants to contact me, if you go onto the page to register for our weekend, there's a link to my email and also my phone number.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And
all right. And my website is amberwolfphd.com. And you can get a hold of me there, or my email is dr.amberwolf@gmail.com.
Okay. And I thank you again for coming on and talking about the weekend and about the Lemurian Sisterhood and Kryon. And I hope to see you there.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Have a lovely week.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Peg. Bye,
Yeah,
all.
you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye, Elaine.
Hello and welcome. You're listening to OTCR, the radio station that shines and shares its light with